Hey everybody, welcome to the MMA Heat podcast. I'm Karyn Bryant.
What's up, everyone? Jouban here.
So I'm fresh off. See, now I was going to say fresh. That's a joke.
Yeah, you're stumbling now.
Just got back from St. Petersburg last night. So talk a little bit about that experience. We'll look a little bit ahead to Florida, and then also, Alan, you got some stuff that you're talking about that you're going to do. But I'll start off by showing my favorite souvenir here. So I ended up getting the Russian nesting doll, which initially I couldn't find. I didn't see, I thought it was going to be the type of thing you were tripped over them on the street there. It was going to be
everywhere.
So at first I didn't see any, and then I was panicked, and then I went I looked up a gift store. It was near our hotel, and then I went in, and there was too many to choose from. Then I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But let me just tell you, this is spectacular. So this one here has 10, this one is I think a 10-piece. That I treated myself to. I bought some for the in-laws, the mom-in-law, my mom, Aurora, and I don't know. It was so cool. I had such a neat time there. But the best thing was, the fights were good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
The fights were good.
I'm curious about your present. What is it called again?
They're called Russian nesting dolls.
Nesting dolls. And so, how much did you pay for it in American dollars, and how much did it begin with, and did you barter it down?
Well, right.
I know you bartered it down.
Right. So here's the thing. So in this store, I didn't. There was a range of prices, and then what the guy was telling me was basically the detail on the face and stuff is what you're going to be paying for more and things like that. So there are the really, really traditional ones, which are hand painted, which don't have the shiny vibe to them and stuff. And at first I was like, oh yeah, I want the real traditional thing. And then I picked it up. I was like, pretty sure I don't want to spend $350 each. So we're going to put that one back. Right. And so then I'm looking around.
That's a lot.
Right. I'm finding all these. So this one, hold on, let me turn my glasses on here because I can't see what this says. This one was 6,750 rubles.
Rubles, okay.
7,000 rubles is basically $100.
Okay. Now
So
it's now $80 or something.
Right. So I told the guy when I was looking for him, I want him in the 70 to 80, the 65. I want it good, but I don't want to go broke here. But so when I left, put it this way, between the $4 I got, and I bought some other little trinkets and things like that, I spent about $350 on
That's not too bad. That's not too bad.
It's not too bad because I was literally, I may never come back here, and I want to get good ones.
And that's something very tangible, that will last the course of time. It's not like a T-shirt that you were there and you're gonna wash it and you're gonna throw it away or something. That you'll be able to have it forever, put on the shelf or whatever. So
exactly.
And I'm curious about these things because when we travel, we're always negotiating and trying to do their what's the dollar over here? How much does it cost? What can I get?
In general, things were very affordable. Really. So they had them in every price range. So the ones I got ranged from there. But when I went over to the Church of the Savior on Spilled Blood, they had more street vendors out there. So then at first, I don't know if you're like this. Sometimes you buy something, right? And then you see another one, you're like, shoot, did I get ripped off? So then I would grab a couple off the street, and some of them cost less. And at first I was like, oh no, I got taken. But then when I really looked at them, I was like, oh, well, the one I got was a higher quality. So then when I grabbed one off the street vendor thing of equivalent quality, it was way more. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And so I was like, all right, I feel good. But I did negotiate down. I got these little necklaces, the little Fabergé egg things or whatever. And I got some of those. And so I negotiated on those. But yeah, to your point, I thought about T-shirts and stuff. But I was like, these are going to be more significant, and I'm happy with what I got. But it was the museum is really what blew me away. I heard about the
pictures.
Yeah, the Hermitage. It's literally, I guess, the second biggest museum in the world. And I went in, because I went a day early, so I had all day Thursday to myself. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to see some sights, go to the museum. I went in there, and I literally, I'm not even kidding you. I started giggling, just laughing to myself of are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me right now? Just the amount of stuff they had, the amount of rooms, you walk around one corner and I'm like, oh my God, there's a Renoir next to a Monet, next to a Picasso, next to a Rembrandt, next to, it's overwhelming if you are an art fan, which I am. And it was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Yeah. The museum is like worth a trip over there alone.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you saw, I shared some things and found, saw some of the churches. I didn't have time to go into the big spilled blood one, but I did go into a smaller church, just wandered into it on that Thursday, and turned out, it was kind of cool being there for Holy Week. And I happened to go into this church, and they happened to be doing this service, which was really intense, and the place was beautiful. And I just stayed in there for like a half hour. I don't know, man. It was a really neat trip. I had a really good time. People were totally cool too.
I'm glad you did all that. We do. Every time we travel for the fights with the team, we didn't hit up any Monets, but we did go to the Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta when we were there. But you know what I'm saying? It's terrible. We try to make the most of it. We try to see the city, see the culture. We ate at 3 different fried chicken restaurants in Atlanta. So no Monets. Yeah. But we're on the same pattern. But you toured the stadium too. Yeah. Oh, the stadium. Yeah. But yeah, point being. Man, when you travel, especially for work, go and not only just do the work, but go and see the city, get the things that you might not have ever done. Go and make the most of it. So yeah, it's fun that you did all that.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then the funny thing is like, in terms of the fight fans, they'd never had a show there in St. Petersburg before. They went to Moscow last year or whatever, and they'd never been to St. Petersburg. And so a lot of the fans, you could tell they were just like in awe, not in awe, maybe isn't the right word, but they were just like so happy that we were there, and that they were like, we were tangiable to them. And
you were like, they were like recognizing you and stuff
for sure. And like our hotel, obviously we had a lot of the fighters, but like even just when going to the weigh-ins and you're walking in, and then like people will come around you and they're like, can I take a picture? And like, oh my God, there's like a bunch of people, and I know you get it all the time, but most of the time people just like don't care about me or whatever. Like you get the occasional, but like all of a sudden you look and you're like, there's 15 people here waiting to get a picture with me, like
that's awesome.
Coming around you, and you could tell they were just like so like, wow, there's actually Rashad Evans like right here, and they were very enthusiastic and polite and cool, and it was a really neat experience. But it was funny at the weigh-ins because Megan and I looked up, we were like, okay, so yeah, it's about 98% dudes. Okay, there weren't a lot of women at the thing. But everybody was really cool, and it was just all good. Such a fun time.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it was such a good trip. I wish that I could have watched more of the card. To be honest, I didn't get to watch it Saturday. My Saturday is always crazy.
When it was so early.
But and it was early, and I try to get back into my sprints and my routine. But I did watch the main event. And Alistair seemed to do a lot of his what he's kind of known for, and like as high level of a striker that Alistair is, with the glory of K1 background and everything that he's done, he really has become more of a guy that kind of is a counter striker and a clinch knee guy, and that's what he seems to do to everybody, and he was kind of able to take advantage of it that night as well, huh?
Yeah, well, and it was interesting because Alexey, and they are friends. Like years ago, they've actually trained together. So that was one kind of storyline that was going in there. Like, they have some familiarity with each other. It's been about 5 years since they trained together, but they're really cordial with each other, very friendly during the week, no smack talk or anything like that. They like each other.
I saw that, yeah.
But Alexey did say, even all the time that they practiced together and trained together, he never submitted Alistair. And he's the king of the Ezekiel and all this stuff. So the fact that he couldn't submit Alistair, I thought was an interesting storyline playing into this.
Very interesting.
But you could tell Alexey started really fast, right? Because it was a short training camp for him. He was training to fight Walt Harris, May 4th. But I guess he really hadn't been in camp that long when he got the call for this. And so it wasn't really surprising that he kind of went and tried to start fast, right? Because you could tell he probably was thinking, all right, I don't have a lot in my gas tank, and maybe I can catch Alistair. But I'm curious what your take was, because Alistair looked, like Sugar and I were both like, wait a minute, like he looked so, like almost too relaxed at first. Yeah. And the fact that they went to the canvas so quickly, and at first Alistair looked kind of just like he was too mellow in this. And I'm like, dude, like, wake up. And we couldn't tell if he was playing rope or dope, or if he really was just like not into it. And then of course he was, but what was your take on that?
I caught on to that, but I wasn't thrown off by it at all, because in my mind, and I didn't even know the backstory that you said that they had been training. I knew they were really good friends, but I didn't know they had been training together that much in the past, and that Alexey had never submitted him. I mean, if you've never submitted somebody in practice, it doesn't give you a whole lot of confidence that you're going to submit them in the fight when things are actually happening. But that's kind of what I was taking from Alice's body language, was that one thing that, am I saying his name right? It's Alexey. How do you say his name?
Alexey Oleinik.
Alexey Oleinik.
Yeah.
One thing that Alexey was doing, though, when he was throwing his punches, he really like chamber fires. Did you catch that? Like, he doesn't just throw it. Everything is really chamber fire.
Right.
And it made his combos very slow and very very, you could see it. And so when Alistair was kind of going against the cage and letting Alexey kind of tee off on him, the crowd kind of made a big deal about it. But in my mind, I was thinking, he's not hurt. You know, maybe one of them caught him on the chin, but I think he sees everything, and he's kind of just hiding in his midst right there. And he sees the chamber fire coming so easily, he's able to cover him. And he's really just thinking about one thing the entire time, which is that inevitable shot, the takedown defense, and that's what he was just waiting on. So I thought he actually had a pretty good game plan. He didn't feel like Alexey was going to be too much for him on the feet. He didn't really feel confident that Alexey would catch him with any surprise shots. I think Alexey obviously probably has the power to knock him down if he caught him, but nothing would really surprise him because everything is so drawn out. It was just really stuff to take down, get in a good position, and land that knee. And did you see the little adjustment that he made? I don't know if you guys talked about it on the end show. I didn't watch it. But the adjustment that Alistair made with the knees from going up the middle to around the side, and that's the one that caught him on the temple. I thought it was a good little adjustment that Alistair made right there. But his knees are deadly, man. He's kind of like Ben Saunders. When I fought Ben Saunders, we only focus on getting out of the clinch, don't engage. And I'm a guy that loves to clinch, but that was his big opportunity. I was a little surprised. I don't know if you guys were. Did you guys talk about this at all? That Alexey kind of didn't mind being in a clinch. He kind of worked the body a lot, and he did good damage, but he kept himself in a vulnerable position.
Well, he did, but also, it's vulnerable because of Alistair and those great knees. But at the same time, Alexey has to get close to you to sink that Ezekiel. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And so that was one of the things that, we talked about a lot on leading up to the fight, was who was going to win in the clinch, because Alistair does great work there and is very damaging, but that's also where Alexey can get you. And so Alistair was saying afterwards that he had at least that familiarity, so he could tell when that move was starting to happen, right? Because I guess a lot of time people don't necessarily know it's happening, or they kind of walk right into it or something, and Alexey can start that Ezekiel from standing position. And so Alistair was like, no, I could tell, I know when he's doing it, I'm familiar with that enough that I was able to avoid that. But that was going to be one of those things. And also, to your point there, like, Alexey has much longer arms than Alistair, and so if he hadn't been a telegraphing guy or whatever, but he could have used range against Alistair, but then again, his secret weapon is Ezekiel, and he's got to be close. You know what I mean? So it's like it almost didn't matter. But Alistair, I thought, was interesting. To your point, he did cover up. Those shots weren't landing. It looked sort of like, wow, look at Alexey's got him against the cage, but nothing went through. We were joking with him after on the show, like, he's still pretty. He didn't get banged up or anything like that. And Alistair said, okay, so I've got 2 wins in a row. He said, I promised myself I wouldn't call for a title shot until I got 3 in a row. Going into this fight, he was ranked number 7. Volkov was number 6, who he was supposed to be fighting. And so, he said that's who he really wants. If he can get past him, then he would ask for a title shot. But he's like 37, 38 years old. He knows the end is closer. He's having a good time. Like, I really liked it. Yeah, he's 38 now. That was his 45th win.
Wow. Yeah.
I really liked Alistair's headspace about everything. Like, he seems so... He's seen it all. He's done it all. And yes, the UFC title has eluded him. He'd like to make one more run for it. I mean, if he doesn't, the guy's still legendary, for all the names that he's beaten. But I was happy for him. I was happy to see him get the win. I don't know what it is about Alistair, maybe because, in the thing before they play the fights, the Baba O'Reilly montage, like, there's the Ngannou knockout of Overeem. There was another one of Overeem, and you feel like, it's obviously a big deal to beat him, right? And so they always use that. But to me, it's like, I like seeing Alistair win too. It's not like a favoritism thing or something, but it's just like, I don't know, sometimes when you see the old dudes still get it, you know what I mean? I like it.
I agree. I mean, you've been following Alistair since his early days of his career, and a lot of UFC fans, and we've seen him from Pride fighting Chuck Liddell. We've seen him in what is it, Strike Force, and we've seen him in almost every organization because Alistair's fought almost everywhere around the world, and he's had tremendous success. And like you said, 45 wins as a professional is pretty incredible because the average UFC fighter, there's not even an average number because what is average? Maybe the average UFC, not MMA. The average UFC fighter probably averages like 20, 25 fights throughout his career. Right. And to this guy that would be walking around with 45 victories under his belt, that's pretty incredible, man. And he's had some tough losses, but when you've been around that long and you've fought in everybody under the sun, tough losses come. That's just the nature of the sport. But I agree. I've always been a big fan of Alistair. When he came to the UFC, that was a really big deal for me, thinking, wow, now we have one of the best heavyweight strikers in the world, best guys in every division coming over. Was Brock Lesnar one of his first fights?
I was at that one. And they had the press conference in Santa Monica and everything, and I remember everybody was like, they better reinforce the cage.
I mean, come on, like a Super Bowl of a fight. You put Brock Lesnar and Alistair Overeem, and that was fun times. But I agree. All in all, what I'm saying is that I'm a big fan of Alistair, and I love watching him. I love watching him win. Absolutely.
Well, listen, the co-main event is the one that got the fight of the night, and this was the guy that I feel like the crowd was most interested to watch that night, Islam Makhachev. So he's a guy who is not oh, dude.
That was good.
You don't even know with the names. The name thing, I was like, I need to get the name file, you
even put a little stank on it, though. You
got to. That's the right way to say it. And so, but we went back and forth on these names, and like I'm writing them down phonetically, and then you look at some of these, you're like, oh my God, we got Michal Olefshechik versus Antigulov and all these things, right? And when you're just trying to hum along and read these, took a lot of practice. But Islam is the guy that really kind of, I think, had the most buzz of the night, right? And that's the person that literally there were the UFC security was on watch because basically Kadyrov could have shown up. There was like a lot of diplomats and high up Russian officials that were maybe going to come to the fight. In the end, I don't exactly know who did or didn't come, but all the security people were on guard. They were like, we have to be ready. Like at any moment, they could walk up to the door fully tricked out in AK-47s or whatever it is, and they may just demand to come in and go visit Islam Makhachev before the fight, and we will let him. You know what I mean? And so
that's crazy.
Like, okay, wow. So that was kind of weird, but my point being, he was a big deal. He's a big draw, and the funny thing is the guy that he went up against, Arman Tsarukyan, is a newcomer. And Islam was like, I don't really expect that much from him. I've heard about him and I've heard this and I've heard that, but I don't think he's going to be that strong and this and that. Well, this guy came in and gave him such a competitive fight. It was such a good back and forth exchange, grappling. Like it was so high level. And Islam's not even ranked in the top 10 yet. You know what I mean? And after that performance, it was so clear that he is a real threat to a lot of people. After the newcomer Tsarukyan comes in and puts up such a close fight like that, it's going to be, we were all like, well, nobody's going to want to fight that dude now either. But it was so impressive. I really thought it was a terrific fight, and I thought it was well-deserved for fight of the night. And I know you didn't see all the things on the card, but I guess for you, the question is like, when you see somebody who's like a dominant grappler and a dominant wrestler, like, people hate that kind of matchup, right?
100%. I really want to go back and watch this fight because not only were you raving about it, I saw even Joe Rogan posted a screenshot. I believe it was this fight, Russian and Armenian, right?
Yeah.
The fought. Yep. I saw the flags on his post, and he was kind of saying what an amazing fight this was. So it kind of piqued my curiosity as well when he said that. I want to go check it out. I'm curious, is the Russian guy that Islam? What was his name?
Makhachev.
I'll do the first name.
Oh, Islam. Yeah, he trains with Khabib.
I was like, no, Karyn, I don't want to know the last name. That's too much. Makhachev. Islam.
Islam.
But is he affiliated with Khabib? Is he in that circle at all?
He's Khabib's teammate.
But he wasn't involved in the Conor incident.
No, I don't think he was.
Okay.
I don't think he was because was he there and he now is fighting? I forget.
Because I saw his face and he looked kind of familiar, but I'm assuming anybody involved in the incident is still on some type of suspension right now.
I think so, and I want to say this with the sincerest sense of not trying to be funny. but a lot of them resemble each other is all I'm going to say, because of
they've got the look with
beard,
the beard or this
the
or
hair,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Dark hair, dark. So it can be a little bit like tricky to necessarily tell, and I mean that with the greatest sense of respect. But yes,
Right.
Islam is Khabib's training partner, trained by Khabib's dad, and he's the one who, is like, Rashad and stuff was kind of saying, he's like, I think he's like a carbon copy of Khabib, but maybe even almost better with striking. And we were kind of talking about the idea that, the way Khabib has trained at home, there's obviously a very strong sense of wrestling and grappling and the combat samba. But the fact that he went to AKA, learned a lot of stuff with Javier Mendez, DC, all those guys, and then comes back to Russia and can kind of like streamline what they need in the UFC, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so it's like if Khabib did all the hard work, now he has a blueprint of how to make you successful in the UFC, and now these guys like Islam can run with that and like could eventually even be even better than Khabib.
There you go. If you're not a trailblazer, then be a fast follower, and that's
right.
What he has opportunity now to do with the doors open. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I thought it was a great fight. Glad they got fight of the night. The night started with 3 knockouts. We were like, oh damn, right? Like bang, bang, bang. We could tell that people wanted to like be, show off in front of their countrymen. Like you could tell there was a lot of pride on the line. So I really enjoyed the fights. I thought Roxanne Modafferi versus Antonina Shevchenko was really good. I also think that's one that you should check out if people missed it. Very, very competitive. Roxanne did get the victory. I was okay with that. I don't think it was. I did think she won.
Oh, it was a close one. Okay.
But it was a really good fight, a very competitive fight, and that was Antonina's first MMA loss. So yeah, she's 7-1.
I could see Roxanne was she's such a character, man. She's so fun. Like I just saw a bit of her post-fight victory. I didn't watch the fight, but yeah, she was just like, I just love being a martial artist, and whoever's my next opponent, and I look forward to the journey. And she's so out there, man. But it's like it's fun. It's nice to have something different than somebody always, trying to be a Conor McGregor or calling somebody out. She's out there. She's being herself.
Yeah, she's great. She's so authentic. And I have a question for you because, Rashad and I were talking about this, and then we were talking about it with Roxanne even. Rashad was like, look, that's the kind of person I would rather train. Somebody who maybe wasn't naturally athletic, wasn't a naturally gifted athlete, but who clearly works so hard. He's like, I would rather take a person like Roxanne than somebody who's just, like gifted and doesn't work hard. Like there really is something to be said for that.
Yeah, I mean, well, you would love to have a bit of both, but I get what he's saying right there, and I get, but because as a coach, as I am as well, you see both sides, like you're saying. You see people that come into the gym, and if they're going to be an athlete, they have to be an athlete. But there's levels to that. There's people that have to work, like you said, tremendously hard to get to where they want to be, and there's some people that come in right away, and you're like, you could be an athlete right away. I could tell, I could see it in the way you pick things up, and then you move. It's finding the person that's naturally athletically gifted and that has that same mindset as the person that's not as gifted. That's the trouble thing. And then when we start splitting, really splitting hairs, then we start talking about the people that have that dog in them, that never give up in the fight, that could be the hammer or the nail and all those things. So that's the layers of finding the fighter. But at the end of the day, Roxy, she like you said, I don't think she's the fastest girl on the sprint team. I don't think she jumps the highest in basketball. But man, she puts her mind to something and she embraces it and she makes it her world. Like she said, she still says the term martial artist, which I really respect about her, because you ask me, I'll say, look, I'm a fighter, and I'm a prize fighter. I fight to provide for my family and money, and I love what I do. I love the martial arts aspect, but I'm a fighter. She's still respectful and old school about the martial arts ability about her, and it's refreshing. And I agree. You want to have people like that in your gym for sure. Yep,
and it was cute. She at the end, I'm sure you saw this, where she's like, "For my next fight, I'd like to fight Cyborg." just kidding.
And like it wasn't even like good timing, but her cuteness made it funny. I agree. I saw that.
Yeah, no, it was great. She's a cool chick. Happy for her, and all in all, it was just tremendous. The whole idea of going to Russia was really neat. And so hopefully we'll go back. It really was cool. But all the people who did watch, and for the fans that were there, and for anybody that I may have met or talk to over there. Thank you for being so cool, because it really was a trip that I won't forget. So it was pretty awesome. And yeah, once again,
Great
and
to
that's
hear.
my nesting dolls. So cool. And I did have some vodka. Here's the thing that's tricky about the vodka. They pour smalls there. This is the thing that I was a little surprised. Small, yeah. And I was like, cool. I thought the vodka was gonna just flow. You know what I mean? And then you order, and then and it wasn't expensive though. So that's the good thing. So you have to keep, you just keep buying more. But it would be sold in milliliters, and we Americans are stupid about the metric system. So you're kind of doing all the conversion in your head, or you're like, whatever, just bring it. And then she would bring one, and then you're like, so small, because I like to sip my vodka on the rocks. It's like my drink.
Yeah.
And I'd sip it, and I'm like, well, that was fast. And so then at one point after the show, I was with some of our production people. I was like, okay, I wanted a double. And she allegedly brought me a double, but it was still so small. And there's all this ice. I'm like, it's like one sip and I'm done with this thing, right?
That's
so
crazy.
Then eventually we were like, okay, yeah, I'm going to need a double or something like that. Like an In-N-Out burger more than a double.
Triple double?
Double. And then the lady's like, wait, so a double of a thing that I just brought you? We're like, yes. Yeah. And then she ended up, it was still full of ice, but I should have taken a picture of it. She ended up bringing a big glass like this. Yeah. And so it looked like the vodka was really high in it because there was so much glass. But I'm like, all right, now I look like a full-on alcoholic. But this was the right amount of vodka. It was finally, the right amount.
That's funny.
Probably
I
more
wonder
than I
if
needed.
Because maybe they shoot vodka so frequently, it's kind of like a thing over there, that maybe they do it in small amounts because they're not trying to get blitzed right away. But you would think if you're buying it at a bar or wherever you were at a concession stand, then you want what you're paying for. You want the full glass.
That's what I'm saying. But I don't know if there's certain things, because they are a very polite people over there, and err on the side of conservative, obviously, in a lot of things. So you never know, what if it's just we stick to the script and we pour this much, and you will get no more, and you will get no less. You know what I mean? I don't know. But anyway, it was good. I was drinking Russian Imperial something vodka, you know what I mean? Whatever. It was cool. It was funny. At one point I stopped into a bar after I was taking a walk because I was very thirsty, and I was actually just going to get a beer or something, and they had all these vodkas on tap. I was like, my man. You know what I mean?
Vodka on tap?
Yeah, they had all the vodka bottles on tap and these things. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. I had a vodka and a beer and stuff like that, and it was good. It was a good time. But this weekend I'm going to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know your buddy Ben Saunders is on that card. He's the feature.
Oh, he's on the Florida one as well.
Yeah, he's the feature prelim. But the main event is Jacare versus Jack Hermansson. Jacare was supposed to fight Yoel Romero. Yoel had to pull out. Jack Hermansson beat David Branch in March. Yeah. But I'm curious what your take on this matchup is.
It's an interesting matchup. Jack, what's his last name?
Jack Hermansson.
Jack Hermansson. Yeah. Man, he came on the scene and he was like big brother in everybody, right? With his with Arman guillotine type of move that kind of forces it. Then he goes against Branch, who we know is a black belt, a very good guy on the ground. I've seen Branch fight in other organizations, the guys against Vinny Magalhaes. Yeah. Vinny was not able to submit him. Vinny wasn't even able to take him down.
Vinny's great.
Vinny's one of the best submission artists in the world at that. When you talk about heavyweight or light heavyweight. Yeah. And so Branch comes in, who's a very good jiu-jitsu guy, very good boxing, and Jack just has his way with him. And so now he's fighting Jacare, who is arguably the best grappler / submission artist we have in the UFC. When you look at guys that have specialties, you might think of the welterweight division with who's our welterweight guy with the rear naked choke? I'm forgetting all of a sudden. That
Oliveira? Fought the other Oliveira?
No, the welterweight guy that fought Tyron Woodley for the belt.
Damian.
Damian Maia.
Sorry, right.
Sometimes you think about some of the
Alex
specialists.
Is much lighter, right? I mean, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Specialists in jiu-jitsu. Damian Maia is a very high-level guy, but he's also he's high-level. Period. I'm not taking anything away from him, but his go-to is kind of the rear naked choke. Right. But Jacare is kind of, in my mind, more of a well-rounded guy in terms of he's very physically strong and very technically sound and strong everywhere. He'll get you with the armbar, top game, bottom game. He doesn't really have to only find the back, which he's very strong in as well. So my question back to you, Karyn, or to answer yours and to give you something back, what I'm curious about is, does Jack have that dominant of a grappling game, or is it that he's such a high-level black belt at this one move, at this specialty, that he's able to get more well-rounded black belts? Because I think Branch could have been a more well-rounded black belt, but he could not stop the strength of Jack's guillotine. So will Jacare's overall jiu-jitsu knowledge grappling game be strong enough to stop this one dominant submission that Jack brings to the table?
I think so. Yes. Like I
think so too.
Yeah. I don't think anybody. I don't think. Look, as good as Jack could be at stuff, I don't think if he wants to risk that, right, with Jacare. Like I don't think you. I think you try to go on the feet, but the thing is Jacare has a couple of knockout. You know, he can knock you out in the hand. He's got the.
He's aggressive
he knocked
on the
out.
feet too.
He
knocked out
Derek
the wrestler.
Brunson. Sorry, I was
Derek Brunson,
it's Brunson. He knocked him out twice. Once with a punch, once with his kick.
Head kick. Yeah.
So Jacare can strike, you know, but I think that's where, you know, he's going to be more beatable. I'm a big, huge Jacare fan. Like I just love everything about him, right? How he looks in terms of like, he looks like, we was just like that man could have been nothing but a fighter.
The ladies actually, I didn't know this. As a guy, I look at that other handsome Brazilian middleweight guy that's ripped up. Borrachinha, and I'm like, that's the one the ladies love because it's like the obvious one.
Right.
But the ladies like Jacare as well. Even my wife was like, Jacare is handsome. And I was like, really? Is Jacare? And then I've seen it more and more. The ladies like Jacare. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but
yeah, no. No, and it's, to me, it's like, it's not even necessarily about how it's how he looks in terms of like an ideal fighting machine.
Like a character, yeah.
And he's so friendly. He's such a lovely guy. But I don't know. I find him intimidating. Like I wouldn't want to stand across the octagon from him because you do think, okay, where can he beat me? Where can he not? Jack Hermansson, who I met after that David Branch thing, I'd never met him. He's so polite, so likable, and you know, he's just like, wow, these are big opportunities. Like he's such a lovely guy. I don't know. It's hard. Also with Jacare, like the fact that he was supposed to be fighting Yoel Romero. Like Jacare's had so many opponent changes over the years. Like I feel like he might be extra motivated, you know, angry and just like, let me just get rid of this other effer and get him out of there and get back to who I'm supposed to be fighting. Like, I don't know. I'm hoping that he stays motivated, you know, even though he's fighting a guy that he wasn't expecting to fight. I would think maybe Jacare is going to win, but Jack Hermansson is the real deal too. So I don't know.
And he'll definitely prove himself to be the real deal if he gets past Jacare. I think this is a big feather in his cap if he can do that. And to answer the question I kind of presented to you, and you answered it, I don't think so either that Jack will be able to lock on any submissions. But this is what I think: if anybody gets anything locked in, right? I'm all the way underneath the chin, I'm behind the head. Look, anybody can finish anybody when it's 100% locked in.
Right.
The thing that makes high level guys so high level is they stop you at point A, B, C before you get to D where it's locked in. They stop you early. And Jacare has too much skill and knowledge and just body presence of not letting himself getting in a vulnerable position, something advantageous for Jack to lock in something. Because yes, if Jacare gets hurt and something gets locked in, he can be finished. But if Jacare is aware, I don't see him letting the steps get close enough to lock that submission in. I think Jacare's been around the bush too long. He's too physically strong and aggressive on the feet as well that I don't think we'll see that. But you never know. And a win over Jacare, man, then this guy really is the real deal. And he's a guy to look out for.
That would be massive. Now, Greg Hardy is back in action in the co-main event. But I'm actually curious what your take is on another fight there. Your former victim, Mike Perry, is facing Alex Cowboy Oliveira, who I just love watching. I find him to be one of the most entertaining. Like, I love it, like his ring walk. It's all just like he's joyous on the way in, joyous on the way out, win or lose. Like, I love his attitude, but I also just love how in a fight he is just fearless and just freaking goes for anything. I'm curious what your take is on that match.
I like him too. So he was presented to me before my last fight, and it didn't work out. He was fighting later, but I looked him up when I thought, okay, here's a guy that they threw a name at me. I might fight him. Let me look at his fight. And I watched him walk out, as you said, and he comes out smiling and dancing. and it's almost intimidating as a fighter because he sucks the energy out of the room and puts it with him, because you're out there mad and going through these back and forth things emotionally. And this guy comes out and he's like samba dancing with a smile on his face, and he's winning over the crowd. Yeah. And I was thinking, okay, so if I'm standing inside the octagon and I see him coming out and he's salsa dancing and he's smiling and everybody's clapping their hands and chanting to the beat, is that going to throw me off of my game or not? I don't know. It will be interesting when you see Mike Perry getting in there, when he's snarling and stuff, and then you see Cowboy Oliveira dance into the ring. It's a fun matchup.
It is.
The thing about Cowboy is he became kind of a wild fighter who now is still wild, but he likes to push you against the cage, and he holds people against the cage, and that's where he's had a tremendous amount of success. He could do that to Mike. He's going to be the better grappler than Mike. The only little possibility that I see is Cowboy gets punched every fight. He gets hit. He's out there to get hit. He's got very long arms. He's very athletic. He's very aggressive. Yeah. But he takes a lot of shots. And when he gets hit hard, I say this with respect, I could see a little bit of quit in him, because I studied him for a little bit, and I saw moments where he got hit and he thought about it. He went, I don't know if I want to be here. And then he snapped out of it. He goes, okay, I gotta be here. And if Mike hits you, if Mike Perry hits you hard and flush, he's going to have that same recurring thought, and I don't know what his answer to that's going to be.
Yeah, and Mike has been fighting a lot smarter lately, too.
He has. He's over at Winklejohn now. He's been changing his training. He's embraced grappling, he said.
Yeah, and he's going to have the home crowd. I know last time Mike was there, he lost to Max Griffin, and that was the same night you were fighting Ben, I think, right?
Orlando, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I feel like Mike's going to be motivated to win in front of his home Florida crowd, but I don't know, because like you're saying, Cowboy can be reckless, but like he can be wild, and sometimes that wild fighting, like you get drawn into his, firefight and you get clocked. And he is, lanky like that, where Mike is much more stocky, and Mike, still kind of hunts you down, but, he has been throwing kicks more now. And I definitely think Mike is fighting a lot smarter, but,
I agree.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It could go either way in that one. Like you said, Mike lands that huge right hand and you could go right to sleep. So,
yeah.
Should be fun. Also, Glover Teixeira's on that one. Iwan Kutalaba. Some of the big boys they're throwing down. Yeah. So it's going to be fun. I'm going down on Thursday. My mom and my brother.
Oh, you're working it?
Yeah, I'm working that one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'll be going, and my mom and brother will come, and looking forward to seeing them. But you, sir, you're also leaving town. What are you doing?
Yeah. I'm heading out real soon. I'm going to Budapest. And I haven't got there yet, so I haven't done my research yet. But I think Buda and Pest are two different countries that are separated by a river. And
it's in Hungary. Together. So it's two different cities, I guess. Budapest and they're on the other side of each side of a river, I think.
Exactly. So I don't know which side of the river I'm going, but I'm going to Budapest and to start shooting that movie H.E.A.T. Looking forward to it. I'm going to be there for a little while though. I'm going to miss my family, but
how long are you going?
It's almost 2 weeks. I'm going to be there for almost 2 weeks. So some of what you were saying resonated with me about like going to see the artwork and everything. The hotel that I'm staying at, it has like a spa / like swimming pool area that was built in like 1888. I looked it up, and it went through all these wars and this and that, and it was closed down for like 100 years. And then in like 1980, they went and revised it and made it new again. But it looks like the swimming pool area looks like an art museum or something. So I'm excited to go and check that out. That's inside of my hotel. But nonetheless, great opportunity to be part of a big movie. Small part, but a big movie. I'm excited for it. And then I can come back into that and start focusing on fighting again.
Very cool. Well, yeah, from everything I've heard, because I have friends that have gone to Budapest, and they said it is one of the most beautiful cities.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I know you. I feel like you don't mind being a loner quite as much because you've always done it. You've always traveled. You like the hotel room. You like to turn the heat up. Yeah. Me, I'm kind of like, man, like I need my fam I'm always used to having like my family or my fight crew. You know what I mean? I always have like my four coaches with me or something. But like when you go on a journey by yourself, you just have to. I know I'll make the best of it, but I like experiencing stuff with my team or something, my crew, my family.
Well, it's funny, and I'm going to make a huge generalization, but I think you guys are like that because
Wade's
always bummed, like when I'm gone. I don't sleep well without you here.
I know.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm sleeping well either because I'm in like some crazy hotel with the wrong pillows and the this and that. But
right.
But yeah, I definitely have more of an independent spirit than he does. But I will say this. Walking all around St. Petersburg, I just found myself talking to myself because I literally was like in awe of so many things. I'm like, oh my God. And I was talking to myself. And then at one point I was texting back and forth with my mom when I was in the old state building part of the museum because I was overwhelmed with what I saw there. And I'm just like texting her because I was like, I just walked around the corner and oh my God, look at this painting. And I'm sending her pictures because it is nice to share the experience with somebody. But at the same time, it was really cool to have that time to myself and see something and like, have a conversation with myself about stuff and just like not be on, not have to worry like this one's bored and he wants to leave.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can do whatever you want and you'll meet people off the crew and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I'll do that. I'll be able to have my alone time, experience the city on my own. But yeah, like you said, there's going to be a bunch of stunt guys there that I already worked with doing the prevision, I think it's called.
Yeah.
The stunt choreography. So I'm excited to team up with those guys when I get there.
It's so cool. That is so cool. So cool. And so, yeah, and folks, if you notice, this is episode number 200 of the show, and we were going to do like a big party episode. And then,
water, popping bottles.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. The timing of your trip, me getting back, Wade's not even in town right now. So when we all get together, we will have our party episode. Plus also we need time. We want to maybe pull some highlights or do something like that. But I will say, it's been 200 episodes, Alan, I can't remember how many we've done together, but I'm glad we are.
Yeah, no, it's crazy when you say that too. Cause I remember you, if you guys don't know, like Karyn used to interview me for the fights now and then, and it became kind of more and more regular. Yeah. And then I think she asked me one time, hey, you want to like co-host or this or that and help out? Yeah. And I jumped in, and I remember my coach, Julio, at Saxon Muay Thai, he goes, dude, I could see you being a part of this show or co-hosting it, man. You do it all the time. You and Karyn get along great, this and that. And then it was like the next weekend, you guys like, hey, what do you think about coming on like full time with us and doing every episode? And I was like, hell yeah. So to think now, I haven't been since the beginning, but a good probably half of those or more, 200 episodes. It's been pretty fun, and I know I've changed a lot. My personality's probably came out a lot since the very first one that I did, where I was probably like, oh, I like both guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, everything's good.
Totally.
Like no, yeah, you got to stay in one way or the other now.
Right. Yeah, no, it's cool. For those who don't know, we initially did this show with a friend of ours named Pete. Unfortunately, Pete passed away. I see sometimes some comments are like, his nickname was the high old guy. And he was so funny. And he is so dearly missed. But that's what happened when, some people do ask. But yeah, it was funny because I remember at the time we're like, well, yeah, Alan could be really good and he could talk well and da-da-da. But yeah, you at the beginning, you didn't want to piss anybody off. I don't want to piss anybody off either. But yeah, it was definitely like you were much more conservative. Yeah. And now you're just like, putting somebody on blast every week. Yeah. I love it.
Now I pitch fits at the end of my fights if I don't win. now I don't care. Now I just curse all over TV. I don't care anymore.
Hey, so you're, and I was going to say, so I thought we were doing UFC Now this week, but we're not since you're going to be going out of town.
Yeah, I know I was supposed to do it. They called me for it, but I have to leave, unfortunately, so I won't do it. I think they're going to be doing this one, and then there's a little bit of downtime, so when I get back, hopefully we can knock out some more.
Cool. Very cool. So if everybody wants to follow our adventures on social media, I'm KB Heat on Instagram, Karyn Bryant across the board everywhere else, and you can subscribe on YouTube. Also subscribe to MMA Heat. And Alan, where can they find you?
Yeah, and I am at Alan Jouban across the board for all social media, including YouTube, and subscribe to my playlist Unguarded. I didn't do it for my fight, obviously, and then this weekend I didn't get to see the fights, but those will keep coming out. When I get some more time, I'll knock some more of those out.
Awesome. All right, well, safe travels, Alan. Have a great time.
Thank you so much. Take care, guys. Enjoy.